Okay, it's Dr. Shelley of HETV, Health Education Television. Now, this is Money Matters for Nurses, but to be honest with you, anyone could get something out of this. It's just that I know that as a nurse and as I teach nurses, we come into contact with, I would just say it up front, millions of dollars. And if you know anything about me, you know that I give anywhere from $200 to $500 away every day to students for no good darn reason other than I plan my life well enough to be able to give that type of money away every day. So I want my nurses to be able to give, to be able to help others, to be able to reach back, pull up, push forward their family members and friends in a way that has helped them progress in life. Because honestly, when you get that nursing license, you might have 99 problems, but money will not be one of them. Now, we want to make sure that you're not that nurse that's going to be 73 years of age, and eating Alpo dog food and working at Walmart. That would be ridiculous because you didn't plan your life the way you should have. And so it's not just for nurses, it could be for teachers. So, be sure to share this video to anyone you think could really benefit from knowing how to manage their money. Now, there's a million videos coming where this has come. This is a separate playlist of HETV. It's under the Money Matters for Nurses. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the bell, because if you hit the bell, then every time I do another Money Matters for Nurses or whatever I'm doing on HETV, you will be notified. So why don't we go forward, shall we? I've done my introduction, but let me say one more thing. As a nurse, it makes no sense why you shouldn't have your first million by about 12 years into the profession. If you do the things that I'm about to teach you, you should have definitely earned your first million by about 12, maybe 15 years into this profession. It's that lucrative. And COVID only made it even more lucrative. Now, before you become the nurse with the purse and Hank with the bank, I need you to be wise about how you spend your money. And I also need you to know that working as a nurse in a hospital setting should just be your introduction to the profession. I need you to be aware that 5 years from now, you should not still be a nurse in the hospital setting unless you're doing it for the reasons that I do it, which is to make sure that whatever I teach, I'm working in it so I know exactly what I'm talking about, because there's nothing worse than a teacher who doesn't even practice. All right? Okay, now let's start with neighborhood crisis. I bring this to your attention because if you're like me, you realize that your children and where you live and where those children live can either make or break you. Now, it's true, your neighborhood doesn't define you. In fact, we know that the father in the home and a good father in those children's lives is what really defines how far your family will go. Ask Serena and Venus. I posted that just today. But I want you to start considering it an emergency. If you live in a neighborhood where things just ain't right and your child has a higher likely chance of getting shot than graduating from high school. These are big deals, and it's not just about where do you live and the danger and the safety of your children. It's also just about where do the taxpayers' monies go. Because if you're living down the way in the hood like I used to, just coming home from work, you can catch a flat on the chuck holes. And this is again costing you money. So look at the bigger picture. Are the streets repaired? Is the neighborhood worthy of you walking a dog at night? I'm always telling you to get out and exercise. Quit sitting on your butt. Most of the places I've lived in the past, you don't want to be walking no dog out there. You're liable to get robbed. So I'm asking you to consider your highest priority, the neighborhood you live in. And for that purpose, I want to tell you that I'm actually going to include a handout, I guess you could call it, or a link to my suggestion for where to look for very affordable housing. I know that I was told by a couple of my friends who are real estate agents that they can't tell you what I can tell you since I'm not a real estate agent, because I've done the homework. In other words, I've done the work of looking at what housing areas, what neighborhoods and what homes in those neighborhoods are affordable and safe for you to raise your children. And I want you to think outside the box. Now, unfortunately, Cleveland happens to be one of the most segregated communities in the entire country. We rank 6th in terms of segregation. But we got to change that. Now, I know there's been a lot going on in the last 5 years to make people even more segregated, but we can't allow that to continue. We must be of the mindset that the West Side and the East Side is equal game for our children. It's no big secret that athletes are told when they play for the Browns or the Cavs or baseball or whatever they do to move to the West Side. Oh, it's no secret. They tell them right up front, you'll get in less trouble. You won't get into temptations. It'll be safer. It's more secure for your family. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I care about my family just like those athletes. And so if it's the West Side that I got to go to for safety, so be it. Of course, I got some beautiful East Side environments that are very affordable, very wonderful to live in. I've been living in my own home for 30 years and I love my neighborhood. Okay, so let's consider that the biggest priority to guide you in everything I'm about to talk about. Now, let's go a little deeper. First things first, I don't really care, if I'm honest, and I try most times to be as honest as I can be. I don't care who your higher being is. For me, it's God. Yours is maybe Allah. Maybe it's Jehovah. I don't really care. What I do care about is that you understand the connection in tithing or giving back. It just means that forever and ever you will always have. People get it twisted. They don't understand, and I show it every single day that I work. Every time I give away $300, $400, $500, it comes back double, and I don't even need it, and it still comes back double. I can't tell you what that means to me. It just happened when I taught class just the other day. I gave away $200, $300 before I had left up out of there. I'd opened a check for another $300 because I had spoken for a college. And so what I'm trying to tell you is don't be stingy, baby. Don't be so close-fisted. Open it up and give away whatever you can to someone that you know is doing very well for the community. In my situation, I don't give money to churches that I don't see doing nothing. And so I got to see, what are you doing? If I see you giving gas cards away, if I see you giving toys, book bags, and haircuts away, if I see you out in the community making a difference, if I see you preaching the real talk and not some old highfalutin spiritual stuff, if I see, hear, and know that you are teaching the Word of God from the Bible as it is in today's world, so it's not so highfalutin I can't understand it, and you're applying these principles to our current struggles, and you're helping our people along the way, then you've earned my tithe, and I've freely given and I don't look back. So that's first things first. Now, life insurance. Oh, I just think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely crazy if you own a Louis and you don't have life insurance. I feel like I should personally punch you in your throat, shake you in your kidney, and pluck your eyeballs out after I pull your eyelashes out one by one, because you stuck on stupid and parked on dumb. You see, reality is, if you leave up out of here without life insurance, you just became a burden to those beautiful children that you know you would have died for. And I don't understand how people do that, because life insurance is like $30 a month. For somebody old like me, your little punk butt is probably $20 a month. Get you some freaking life insurance before I hurt you in Jesus' name, and pray about it later. Not only that, most of our jobs have a policy for us right there at the place of employment. And I get that, and that's something you ought to be taking a part in. You definitely ought to partake in getting your life insurance at the place you work. But that's not good enough. No, you're trying to set up a legacy. You are trying to prevent the poverty that mostly everybody I know, including myself, grew up in. It's no reason on earth why uncle died and he ain't got no insurance. Now you got to come up off of your pocket to help him. and he's dead and you're paying for his funeral. It happened to me. I've been married about 15, 20 times. And this one particular man I was married to, when his family member died, I'm the one coming up off of my pocket to help with the funeral. And I don't even know if you know, but a funeral costs on average $10,000, $15,000. And so if you ain't got no money, I can't even imagine what that's going to mean for you. So please don't do this to your family. Go out today and get your life insurance. Make sure you have a policy. And let me just say this, term life insurance, not whole life. No, 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 no. Whole life is the biggest scam on earth. So if you have a whole life policy, don't get rid of it until you get your term policy. Then you get your term policy, let go of that whole life and get your money out of it, because you ain't gonna never get your money out of it if you don't do it right now. Just a side note. Next on the list, after tithing, life insurance, is something we call the four walls. Now, I got to give a shout out to Dave Ramsey, because Dave Ramsey is who I've often followed, and this is who teaches me how to prioritize my money. And this is why I can stand before you pretty wealthy and pretty happy and pretty healthy and say that this is what you need to do. In other words, when we say four walls, we mean take care of home first. You shouldn't be out here kicking it at the Kevin Hart concert and you ain't paid your mortgage yet and it's already the 10th. You should never be late on mortgage or rent or whatever you're doing out there. And hopefully I mean mortgage. But if you're just getting started, we'll call it rent for now. But you don't want that to ever be late. You want that to come out automatically and you ain't even thought about it. You want at least that automatically coming out of your money. Just boom, you set it up that way. The next thing is your car. You're driving around and you haven't changed your oil since Christ left Jerusalem. And you'll wonder why the shit is smelling funny and engine lights is popping on and the thing don't run right and all this here stuff. Are you crazy? Get your daggone car together. Get your car together and keep it together. And one thing I want to do while I'm doing all this here HETV is I want to interview some mechanics in the city. So if you know some good mechanics, hook your girl up, because I'm tired. I don't want to go to the dealership for nothing. They go all up in you and take all your money. It's like a pimp, ain't it? So don't do that if you don't have to. But then on the other hand, if you have nothing and nobody else you know that can fix your car, then I guess you got to go to the dealership. Now, ain't nobody paying me for this, but let me just say this. If you're a nurse, you already know you can't be found on the road stalled out. It's too dangerous out here anyway, but as a nurse, you just can't do that. So my most reliable vehicles, I'm just keeping it real, and you can cuss me out if you want to, I don't care, I really don't care, is Toyota and Honda. I bought my cousin a 20-year-old Honda last year. Just an old car, paid a couple $1,000 for it. Matter of fact, it's probably been 2 years now. You know that car's still running. It's a 1994, and it's still running. Honda or Toyota. I ain't had to do nothing with my Toyota 4Runner but put some daggone tires on the daggone thing, and I'm still rolling. It's a 2013. What is this? Damn near 10 years later? Okay. Another thing. When you're looking at a car, because you need to get a car, a reliable car, not that old hoopty thing you had when you was in nursing school, you need to make sure you do not buy new. Stop it. Cut it out. Do not buy new cars. Roll them certified cars, used cars off the lot just as proud as anything else. Because when you buy new, you depreciate big time. And that makes you kind of like stuck on stupid and parked on dumb. So get you a used car, 3 years old or even 4. Get a good warranty or something like that. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how good the car is. And go ahead and roll out. Now let me give you some more advice. Your utilities. Your phone, your light, your gas. All right, fine, your stupid cable bill. Oh, God. All of these utilities, you already know if those ain't paid, you ain't got no business traveling and going to Cedar Point and going to Disney World with the kids, and you come back and you dark. Yeah, your lights is off. I done seen it. I swear to God, I done seen it. Either you forgot to pay them or you pay them when you get back and you forgot the due date was coming with the shut off and all this here nonsense. If you need to initially put them on a little plan, a little PIT plan, I think it was called back in the day, do something where you pay the same amount every single month, no matter if it's winter time and it's a gas bill or it's summertime and it's a gas bill. Next is that food. Now listen, we throw away a lot of food in this country. You can't afford to waste food. You want to buy good food. Now that you're a nurse, you got your license, I want you to focus on organic foods, but that means that you need to make a trip to the grocery store at least once, probably twice a week, and you need those kids to go with you so they are growing up in healthy eating. Food can be your biggest expense. I remember at one point when I started logging in how much I was doing with all this stuff, spending $800 a month on food, couldn't tell you where it went. Make sure when you make your food budget that you put a little bit aside for your fast food and different things like that. Now, just a side note, when you go to fast food, there's 3 places I tell you can go, and I'm not going to fuss. I'll say 4. I would say Panera's, I would say Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, and that, what's the other one? BB Bop is another good one. I'm trying to get you to eat better now. Come on, you're a nurse. Here we go. The last part of this is the emergency fund. What I'm trying to get you to do when I say you need an emergency fund is to get you to stop using credit cards for every little thing. It's okay if you got 1 or 2 good credit cards. Maybe that's how you do your tax deductions or whatever else. Maybe your accountant told you it's better to use that for everything. Who knows what the deal is? But I can tell you like this. Without an emergency fund, you either going to borrow, which is the biggest problem you would ever have. You don't want to borrow from nobody and nothing. Or you're going to be overextended into your credit cards. Your emergency fund should be at least $500 if you're an LPN and $1,000 if you're an RN to start with. Now that might take you about 2 or 3 checks to get, but you need to put that money somewhere where you can't get it quick. Now I've always believed in credit unions, and what is it, Faith Community Credit Union down there on Buckeye? They ain't hardly open half the time. You gotta wonder which day it is that they're gonna be open. In other words, this should not be easy for you to get to. So my emergency fund is down there on Buckeye, and it's sitting in that little bank, and that's for everybody from Cleveland. And I know good and doggone well there's some days they not open, some hours I can't reach them. That's the way it should be. You ain't got no ATM card attached to it. This is a true emergency fund. And if you have to use the money in your emergency fund, then replace it immediately. Now I'm done with y'all. I'm tired already, and I can't keep going on and on because your attention span is short. So let me just tell you about the upcoming Money Matters for Nurses. Those upcoming Money Matters for Nurses is going to talk about insurance of all kinds and deductibles, taxes and withholding at your brand new job, debt and student loan repayment. Thank you, Biden, for the $10,000 hookup. 401ks, Roth, IRA, 403bs. You know they at your job. You just don't know what you're doing with them. College planning for those little bozos you got sitting at the house. Education is power. Let's not let our children get into student loan debt the way we did. Let's prepare for their college education. Negotiating your salary. Is overtime even worth it? And what about those travel contracts? I see all y'all traveling, some locally, some far away. I ain't mad at you. If I was a little bit younger, I'd be going out there with you. I'd probably do more partying than working, but that's okay. That's a separate video. So I am here to help you, nurses. And so as I close, I want you to know, I got you. But you got to have yourself. You've got to use your mind for more than a hat rack and start spending money wisely. God bless you. See you soon.